Huo Qubing is officially coming to Rise of Kingdoms. Today we're going to be running through who Huo Qubing is, what his skills are, what his talents are, and who I expect to be a good pair for him. Join me to find out. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another Rise of Kingdoms gameplay episode from your very own Shappy Gaming. Today, we are going to be breaking down Huo Qubing. I know everyone said, Shappy, this guy was leaked like 2 weeks ago. Why didn't you cover him? And there are a couple reasons for that. First, I don't know if you guys saw Chisgle's video, but he made a whole breakdown on why content creators can't cover leaks, which I know, big bummer, right? But thankfully, Lilith has finally confirmed him, which means that today I can run through who Huo Qubing is, as well as who might be a good commander pair for him. So, if you haven't already, do hit that subscribe button. That's going to be right over there, bottom right-hand corner, and hit the bell so you get notified when new episodes come out. Now, let's jump into who Huo Qubing is. As you can see, Huo Qubing is a cavalry versatility and skill commander. And if you want to jump to specific portions of the video, there will be chapters, so feel free to go to where you want. Now, cavalry versatility and skill, I do not know if we have. Yes, we do. Would you look at that? Look who else just so happens to be a cavalry versatility and skill commander. So what does this mean off the bat? Huo already has a great talent tree all set up, which I will be dropping in my Discord. Feel free to check it out. My expectation is you're going to want him to be a primary commander, and we'll jump into his skills in a second. But cavalry versatility and skill tree, here is my tree for the Nevsky that I am running, just so you guys can all check that out. As you can see, it's a pretty decent setup, and Nevsky has already been a cavalry meta commander for some time now. So, Huo Qubing, what are his skills and who should we compare him to? So first things first, he deals direct damage to a target, damage factor of 2,700, 1350 of serving as secondary commander. Honestly, we already saw that his talents are cavalry versatility and skill. He's probably going to be better as primary. So, now we know he has to be a primary commander. Then you also have Fergana horses. Cavalry units led by this commander gain 40% increased attack while outside of Alliance territory. While cavalry units gain 15% increased march speed and deal 5% more damage to archer units. These two skills already are telling a really nice narrative about Huo. First things first, 2,700 damage factor. That is absolutely enormous. If we take a look at Nevsky, he's dealing about 2,300 damage factor. I think if we look at Boudica, she maxes out at 2,300 as well. Scipio maxes out at 2,000. And Zug goes up to 2,000 as well. Which means that this guy is dealing more damage than I think just about anyone that we have seen before. Let's check Joan real quick. Yeah, that is absolutely massive amounts of damage, which is great because that means that he is instantly going to be part of the meta lineup for cavalry. And his rage requirement is 1,000, which seems to be just about the norm unless you're running Edward. We're not covering him in this video. Additionally, we're seeing that he deals 40% increased attack, and they are doubling down on that archer damage, which is really, really important. Because with the introduction of Zug, he is not someone you want to target, whether you're running cavalry or infantry or anything. So this is nice because now you have another commander that you might be able to use to target Zug. Next skill, Dragon of the Desert. If this commander's troop has not been garrisoned in a building for at least 30 seconds, every time their troop enters combat, it will gain the following buffs for the first 15 seconds of battle. It deals 30% more skill damage, and active skill costs 150 less rage to use. So you may recall me saying, look, 1,000 rage requirement, but actually, in most cases, it's not going to be so. It will be about 850, which is lower than just about anyone else. I think, let's see if XY is lower. I don't think so. Yeah, XY's rage requirement is 900, so I can show you guys that right here. And his skills pop faster than just about anyone else. Now we're seeing that with Huo, that's not exactly the case. So what are we seeing in this commander already? He's going to be very quick. He's going to have a massive nuke damage. It is not an AoE, but it is a massive nuke damage. And he's dealing a ton of skill damage. This is a 30% skill damage on top of that already insane 2,700 damage factor. And he's going to be able to pop these skills very frequently. As you can see, it says that he'll gain these skills in the first 15 seconds of battle. Now, this doesn't say that there's a cooldown on it. So if you're in battle and then you walk away, my guess is as soon as that little meter indicating your health goes away, you can come back into battle and trigger that skill again. Which means if you're cheeseburgering, this commander may actually be kind of good. Not that we're advocating for cheeseburgering here, but that's just a thought here. Now, the other thing that I will point out is that after 15 seconds, you get an additional 10% more normal attack damage. I don't believe that this stacks with the previous because, as you can see, first 15 seconds and then beyond that. To be honest, in a murder ball situation, you're probably not going to be out there for much longer than 15, 30 seconds. But if you are, you're dealing more normal attack damage, which might make you just a little bit tankier. If I'm going to be honest, I would rather have this commander in combat than out of combat, then jump back in. That's going to be the best way to use him, I would expect. Now, battlefield appropriations. When attacking an enemy troop, cavalry units led by this commander gain 30% defense, and their troop deals 20% more skill damage. Again, more skill damage. So you have 30% more skill damage in the first 15 seconds, and now you have an additional 20% more skill damage, which means 50% more skill damage. Just let that sink in for a second. That's 2,700 and 50% more skill damage. You're dealing an insane amount of damage. Absolutely insane. That's really about 4,000 looking at that. That is nuts. You do not want to get hit by this guy. And whenever their troop defeats an enemy troop, some of its slightly wounded units will be healed. Damage factor of 1,500. This is not reset after combat, and this is a cooldown of 8 seconds. Now, just to give you guys a little bit of a comparison here, let's see some of the main healers in the game today, because 1,500 damage factor seems really big to me. So, if we take a look at our dear friend Richard here, Richard's healing factor, which everyone says he's such a great healer, is 1,400, which means that you are getting a cavalry heal at Richard's level with nuke damage beyond anyone else, insane march speed, and really, really balanced attack and defense. You've got 30% defense. You've got 40% attack. You've got 15% march speed and 5% damage to archer units. That's the same buff that Boudica gets with her expertise for damage to infantry. The only thing you're missing here is health. But health, fortunately for cavalry, comes really easy. And I'm just going to show you guys as an example. Of course, I do not have the meta sets, but I'm pretty close. Health for cavalry, all of the equipment that you can see here is very health heavy. You get 42% health if you have all of your main cavalry setup, which means that this commander is super balanced. You've got massive attack, you've got massive defense, and you have insane skill damage. I'm already thinking, I haven't even read the 4th skill yet, I'm already thinking this guy has to be a meta commander. Now, finally, let's take a look at the last skill here, which is the expertise. When attacking an enemy troop, cavalry units led by this commander gain 35% increased defense, so you're getting an extra 5% defense, and deals 25% more skill damage, which means that's about 5% more skill damage. Whenever their troop defeats an enemy troop, it gains the autumn wind effect, and some of its slightly wounded units will be healed. 3,000! That is more than double Richard's healing effect. Cooldown of 8 seconds, and it does not reset after exiting combat. This is absolutely insane. The only caveat here is it resets the rage of this commander's troop, all temporary buffs and debuffs, and the amount of time it has been in combat. Now, this is interesting because the amount of time it's been in combat then calls back to the 15 seconds that you get here. If it's resetting the amount of time that it has been in combat every 8 seconds, then the expectation I have is you will never lose your after 15 seconds buff here because it's resetting, which means you are constantly going to be dealing insane amounts of skill damage and rage. Let me know in the comment section. Do you agree with that assessment? Because that's what I'm reading here. And okay, so it's whenever you defeat a troop, you will restart that 15-second buff. That's insane. And that healing buff is absolutely massive. So let's talk a little bit about who I think we should be pairing him with. Obviously, he looks like he's going to be an amazing commander. We already have Nevsky, and we already have Joan, and there are a number of other commanders that you may want to roll. You could pair him with Nevsky and Joan. Let's take a look at Nevsky and break down his skills. We've got direct damage and surrounding target. You've got 20% increased attack and 20% march speed and health. Nevsky's already incredibly balanced. You have 20% defense, 10% damage to surrounded targets or surrounding buff, and all cavalry buffs, skill damage, and more skill damage. So Nevsky is already a very, very balanced and meta cavalry commander. My expectation is you can probably put Nevsky with who and do amazing if you already have Nevsky maxed. Now, the other question that I know a lot of people are going to be asked, do I need to expertise him? I don't think you need to expertise Huo or Nevsky in order to use the two. The amount of skill damage that you're getting from these commanders, even when they're unmaxed, is spectacular. Granted, you do want all of their other skills, but I think you could probably run these two together, regardless of whether they're maxed. Now, the other issue you're going to run into is Nevsky-Joan is already a meta pair. And here we have Joan, who is a perfect secondary commander, who deals 2,000 damage factor, and it's an AoE, which is really nice, and you buff everyone else. Now, you do deal 5% more counterattack damage, and the target troop has 30% more remaining, so that makes you a little bit more swarm-proof. And you have 10% health, and when the secondary commander uses an active skill, they have a 100% chance, so Joan is also putting out a lot of damage. Honestly, you could probably put who with Joan or Nevsky. My personal recommendation is do neither, and there's a reason for that. Nevsky-Joan is already a spectacular pair. If you wanted to break the two of them up, you could, and you may want to, but honestly, the commander that I'm looking at to pair with Huo is going to be William, because William has an AoE, which you probably want behind Huo, because Huo is dealing an insane amount of damage, and you do get a debuff from William as well. And up until now, William's main pair has been XY. Honestly, Huo is triggering skills far faster than XY, and you are dealing way more damage. So if I'm looking at William as a commander that I don't already have a pair for, he could be really viable. And one thing I will call out with Huo is he is definitely set to be a field commander. He's not a garrison commander. I don't even really know if he's going to be a rally commander. His damage is so massive that he probably could be, but his main intent is going to be for field, especially for the majority of players. So let's look at this third skill. 20% attack. Normal attacks have 10% chance to inflict additional direct damage, and if target is surrounded. So this is why I really like William. You already have your Nevsky buff of swarming a target, and perhaps you can switch it and run Nevsky William and Huo Joan, which may be absolutely insane. Stick around for the testing. If you haven't already, do hit that subscribe button. We will be testing him as soon as he comes out. And last but not least, you have 14% increased defense, and you also have all commander troops and nearby allied troops get increased defense and 50% rage, which is massive. So you may be asking yourself, is William the best pair? My guess is that if you wanted to run Huo William Nevsky Joan or Nevsky William and Huo Joan, you will be absolutely killing it. But these are the four commanders that I would honestly pair if you are planning on going for Huo, and I think honestly you should be. He is going to be one of the new meta commanders in Rise of Kingdoms. I'm calling it right now, and my expectation is he will probably be landing in the game in about 2 weeks. So if you haven't already saved up your gold heads, be sure to do so, because he's going to come and he is going to be making waves. I hope you've all enjoyed. Thank you so much. As I said, talent trees will be linked in the Discord. Thank you all. Shappy out.